Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 18th episode, we believe. Comment down below if it's a different issue, or I'll fix it regardless. So today we're going to be talking about the dangers of emotion. And so recently Cole has had an experience, would you say you're kind of in a funk right now, a little bit, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe not the
A
same.
little bit.
Yeah, and so
it's a different kind of funk.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's not like a fully mental funk. It's more of like a, I don't know. It's just, to put it to the fucking max, like, really encapsulate, it's a soul funk, to be honest. Not like good music soul funk. It's like there's a little bit of black fog clouding the shine of my soul, Yeah. And it's like, lately, I don't know if it's stress or something, but I've been like, that negativity, that demon has been more present in my mind, in my life. It's like, I can't, like, it's there right before I go to sleep. It's just kind of, it's there when I wake up sometimes. It's just like, it's like a weight getting pushed down on me, but it's like I'm underneath it, and that fucking fiery anger is what's pushing it back up. And it's like, the more pressure, the more vicious response I feel I need to respond to it with. And it's like, at the gym I've been like a fucking wild animal. Like, I've been that guy, and I've been known to just go in there and do that anyway, like the hoodie up in the gym and the demon hunter as it were. But this last week I was going to war, and my legs are destroyed from the last war with the demons. But like, I'll warm up on the heavy bag and stuff like that. But one day was pretty good. The gas pedal flow was pretty even. But like the next 2 days were, and I exploded on the, like, was it yesterday? 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. I think it was Friday or Saturday or something. I did legs, and I still could fucking barely walk. But
nice.
It was like, but it was weird because for that workout, like I told you before, when I was going into competition, I would meditate, but I would focus on that kind of competitive edge. But this time was a little different. Like, I knew I was feeling shitty. And before this workout, I felt like I needed to meditate. I needed to surround myself in that fucking rage mindset. I needed to immerse myself with the darkness, and then direct it towards a single target when I went to the gym. And like, there's certain like YouTube videos I have saved that get me in that mindset, and one of them was like it's the voice lines from one of the League of Legends champion, Aatrox, and he's like the world ender. And there's one like phrase that fucking gets me heated like nothing else, and it's just, I am oblivion, I am destruction, I am doom. And I'm just meditating, and I'm just listening to this, and I'm repeating it, and I'm fucking just getting it. I'm going down the rabbit hole of fucking just madness, and like no lights on in my room. I'm meditating in this fear and rage, and then I just go into the gym, and I shred through everything that's in my path. And then I came out, and I was dead. And I haven't snapped like on other people. But like, there have been times where, like only twice I think, where I just lost my shit. And fortunately nobody's gotten fucking hurt or anything, or like I never said anything that I wasn't proud of. But it's like, I felt that exhaustion after this workout, just from the pouring out of all this malice. And it was like, I know I'm capable of that darkness, but that's why I can correct it and channel it into better pursuits. But sometimes it becomes, it's poison. It poisons the good pursuits, because then it becomes less about getting it out, and it becomes more about enjoying it and the pain, and just that pure blackness and malice, just changing something that should be good into something darker. And like, that's dangerous emotion within myself, and I know it's there, and I consciously try and keep it together. or vent it out, so I don't get consumed by it. But that goes to say with anything. Depression's a big one, but sometimes people can't control that.
Yeah.
And like if you get sad and you're sad all the time, and you start thinking bad shit about yourself or other people, and you get in your head and it starts to twist things. Like people that you think are your friends can kind of, you take their words and you can change them into something. You give them power and meaning that they don't initially have. Like you turn them into swords against yourself and you cut. But that wasn't what they meant. It was either like a joke or something, but you turn it into like an attack against yourself. And like that's like emotion's good, like to a certain degree, but sometimes your mind and your heart work against you at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like I stand by the fact that it's like this like that your heart isn't all good. Your brain isn't all good either. But it's better than this. This is raw. This is pure, but it's also unleashed and it's dangerous. But this can, when works in conjunction with this, can refine it. It can direct it. But it could be the reverse. You feel like this could close this in too much. Your mind can close off your heart. If you're in experience, you got to retrain your brain. But you can't vent the power of the heart like with a tainted mind.
Definitely. And like, yeah, man, you said that great. You don't want to make your mind the master. You want your mind to be a servant. Because you are not your mind. And it's a lot of times like what we fall into. You can say to yourself like, and this might be hard for some people to grasp. And when I say like you're not your mind, I really mean that you are not your thoughts, right? And it's like that voice in your head. And when you're not aware of the awareness that is behind that voice, it can become very hard to allow yourself to to act in kind of in a balanced state between your intuition and your rationale. And it's like, if you let one or the other take over too much, shit's gonna hit the fan, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because majority of humans, on a regular basis, so we've said this before, are in a regular fight or flight response, and that is their that is their dominant state, like 99% of the time.
You're either chilling or you're freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy because like when people find this very hard to grasp, like when I say it to them, and like when they really think about it, like you are not your mind, you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your feelings, like you are that conscious awareness that is surrounding all that type of stuff, but it's also one with everything. And so just to kind of break that down a little bit more, it's rather than becoming engulfed in your emotions, right? And we'll stick just to emotions here. And like just completely, going, I don't want to say batshit crazy, but like, just like you are the anger, you know what I mean? Rather than you are angry. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think I said that wrong.
No,
did I say that right? Okay.
That is completely fine.
So like, you like the anger isn't who you are. You're not like I'm angry, right? Like, there's a difference there. Like you're feeling anger rather than being angry.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with feeling anger at all. But like Cole has been doing, he's finding avenues in a more healthier and preferable way for himself and for others. Sure, he could fucking unleash, he could go fucking crazy, and do some really, he could do some actions that can have some really harsh consequences, and that'll be his way of releasing the anger, but that's the easy way out,
Exactly.
that's the convenient way out for the anger, but a quote that
that's the anger's way out.
Yeah, that's the anger's way out. But we gotta with the rationale, we can guide that anger to there's a better treatment than the one that anger wants to take. And one last thing I'll say before I'll pass it over back to you is like the anger's there to show you something. You know what I mean? It's not just there for nothing, because if that anger wasn't there, because like that anger, how do I say this? that anger is there because you know something is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can kind of, through that anger, switch, be consciously aware that you need to move to a different state, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It kind of, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like-
it's like weird. I don't know. I don't know.
I know
This is like a weird territory to get through,
yeah.
but we'll get through it. So
Yeah, and like going back to the whole like how I was feeling the other day, like as opposed like you were saying, being angry versus being anger. I was anger, and it was bad, and it's like that's I don't know like lately I think it might be just the weight that's been on my shoulders a little bit when it comes to like school and stuff. I don't necessarily know. I need to meditate more and reflect on that.
Yeah.
But like it's like something's broken, and no matter how much I try and fix it, the pieces just keep scattering out of my reach, and I have to bring it back and kind of corral it, but it's like you can't just push it down.
Yeah.
Because like your heart's always gonna make sure it gets its say, and your head is like no matter how your head tries to oppress it, but it's like that's that danger, It's about balance, but the balance is the hardest part. You need to reconcile your heart with your mind, and like everyone says, anything in excess is dangerous, and like excessive emotion, excessive uncontrolled emotion is very dangerous, because anger is the biggest one, because it's like that has the most violent and direct consequences. Sadness as well, but like excessive happiness, what aren't you showing?
Yeah.
It's like if you're happy all the time, you're suppressing that negativity probably, and then something might switch and fuck you up, and like then it's like mania in like bipolar people, I think, and it's like you have these extreme highs and extreme lows if you're happy all the time, but it's synthetic. You switch down and you're down bad. You are down you are rock bottom. You go from heaven's height to rock fucking bottom, and like that switch is very fucked up. But it's like that's what happens when your brain is doing something wrong in terms of your heart. It's really a matter of alignment, but trying to find your alignment isn't the easiest thing on the planet. It's very, very hard. Like I had to do a lot of like I had judo, and that was good enough for me for a while, and then I stopped doing judo and I started to feel that negativity coming out a little more, but it was in private. I didn't let myself unleash it, and then I found the gym, and it was after the breakup where it was like that sadness and that that darkness, and you take it into the gym.
Cameron die. There's always this one individual who is in my life who, we have a very personal relationship. Me and this individual who will go nameless. But like this person, when I'm around them, like at times, like when certain circumstances arise where I can feel oppositional viewpoints coming at each other, and necessarily like them trying to control me in a sense, I feel the need to make myself, my ego feels the need to be involved, right, very heavily in terms of like saying something or doing an action that will counter what message they're trying to send me. So, and like this a lot of times comes down to, like I said before, control. And when I'm in these circumstances, I notice my emotions. I feel the emotions of neediness to act a certain way and to put myself above them, in the sense that, like I said before, I'm just kind of like reiterating what the fuck I just said, but like through the comments I'm saying. And so like when these like this past weekend, like when I was with this person, like these types of situations are very habitual, and so like they arise very regularly, like when these types of circumstances arise. And so I was very, every time I'm conscious of it, but usually I give in. So like the more you give in, the easier it's going to be for you to give in the next time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
it becomes a conditioned response.
a conditioned response, exactly. And so to break out of that conditioned response, you have to change what you actually do. You got to change your attitude, or you got to change your belief, then your attitude, and then your behavior will change.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it was happening, and I felt the need to make a comment that was in opposition to what they were saying. And so I didn't, and I let them keep talking. And like whenever this happens, it's not like crazy negative. It's never like insanely vulgar, or like, yeah, don't get the wrong idea here, but I'm just saying, like, within me, this is the experience I'm having. And so through like taking a step back and observing, like I told Cole this, it was like fucking hard as fuck. It wasn't enjoyable by any means, but I was able to do it. And so hopefully the next time this circumstance arises, and I know it will, hopefully it'll be easier for me to fight off that urge to act a certain way. And so when we look at things like the dangers of emotions, right, and we relate the situation I was in to that particular issue, when you are in circumstances, for example, where you have triggers, and I mean, everyone has triggers, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not human if you don't have triggers, or you're, I don't know,
you're ahead of the fucking curve. Yeah. You're either a sociopath,
yeah,
or you're ahead of the fucking curve.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I have very few triggers, like, right, and that is one of my triggers. I guess another one would be like maybe people getting too loud or something while I'm trying to work quietly, but like even then it's like minuscule and I can get over it, and but like for a lot of people, they have a fuck ton of triggers, and it's like it's once again, it comes back to that thing, like, are you becoming your triggers, or are you able to take a step back and be aware of your triggers? Because when you become your triggers, you lose that awareness, and you just act on impulse, and you just do whatever the fuck you do to release that anger or emotion. Yeah. But if you're able to reserve yourself, yes, it's going to be hard as hell, and that emotion's going to be, that constant urge is going to be there. But if you can withstand the storm to see the bright day, you'll fucking be chilling. Because what do you know? That storm won't be as strong as it was before.
Yeah.
Next time it arises.
And that's another thing. It's like, if you can change the habits, you can change your mind. You can change your body.
Definitely. Yeah.
You can change everything.
Yeah.
It's like habits, both good and bad, are what build the body. They, like we were saying before, it's the vibe you put out. My vibe has been very tainted lately, but I haven't let it. What's the word I'm looking for? What the fuck? Perforate. That's what it is. I haven't let it perforate. So it's like very much. Some good stuff is still kind of coming through the cracks, but it's like behind closed doors, it's a sea of fucking, I'm drowning and I'm being consumed slowly, but I know it's happening, so I still gotta paddle in the boat, so I'm trying to navigate to the land of, clear thoughts.
Yeah.
So, but I'm coming out of it slowly. I'm correcting myself. Taking steps to correct, my current situation. But as I'm progressing through this, the answer lies in the habit. And sometimes you need to get like external perspective. That's why I kind of ran this by Cal before we started. So it's like, because I haven't told like really anyone about how this has been going on, because I've only really told Cal because I feel like I need someone's advice that's so divorced from what I'm feeling to really give me perspective so I can find the answer myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, going back to Carl Rogers, in my psychology class this week, we watched, actually it might have been last week, but we watched this, live clinical diagnosis with this patient, and she kept asking, like, for her, like, she wanted just a clear answer from him of what to do. But he was like, I think you need. I can't give you the answer. You need to kind of find it out for yourself. By what you've been telling me, I think you might already have the answer to your problem. And it's like, you can't just go, really, when it comes to emotion, you can't just go seeking out somebody to tell you what to do.
Very true.
You have to figure it out for yourself, and it's hard, but nobody else knows how you're feeling.
Exactly, yeah.
People can empathize, but they can never truly understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
So you have to, it's good for an outside perspective to give you a certain perspective on your problem. But only you can truly solve the problem. But you have to detach. And it's hard sometimes. Fuck, it's hard. But you have to do it anyway. You gotta close your heart to your own heart and let your mind act on logic when it comes to issues like this. So sometimes your heart gets in the way of what you need to do, and what you need to do is think. But sometimes when you think too much, you can't listen to what your heart.
Yeah.
When you think too much, there's too much noise for your heart to have a voice. So you have to be cautious of that.
Yeah. I'd even like what you said is very valid. I almost take the opposite approach. So I come from a very I don't want to say school, but like a very a perspective of no thought. That's very common. It's very Eckhart Tollean-esque and very Buddha-esque. But like you said, if you can think your way to the solution, that can be your saving grace. But also a lot of times for a lot of people that's not really a practical solution because they don't have the ability to change their thoughts. They might have a positive thought, but they'll be they're not it won't have as much weight to them, so they won't be able to grasp onto that and then further go along that journey of the positive thought. They're more used to probably negative thoughts, and don't get me wrong, sure it could be the opposite, vice versa. But I'm just speaking from my own experience and what I know. But if you take the path of no thought, which for me, in my experience, is crazy beneficial, because you're able to, like you said, give your heart a voice,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that intuition intuition, awareness. They really pretty much go hand in hand. And so if you can rinse out your awareness and you can kind of clean it up, right? And so when I say your awareness, I mean your attention, what you're focusing on. You can really see things clearly. There's a lot of clarity that develops, and because I notice, for example, say you go meditate, and you're feeling negative, right? When you go and meditate and you sit with your emotions, you sit with your thoughts, you're just observing. You can really see, maybe not see, but a lot of crap, a lot of noise falls out, and so when the noise falls out, you can see what's really there, right?
Yeah.
What's a facade, but what's actually there? What's significant enough to outstand the meditation, right? Because the meditation is your battle, your fucking army going in and wiping out all the troops, right? But then whatever's standing after the meditation, that's what is really there, And so through that, after your army, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I'm just using that as an analogy, but after your army goes through, you could see the root. You could see what's really there, and you were kind of pointing.
After your flood clears out the forest.
Exactly. You can really see what you got to pinpoint, and those urges, those cravings to act a certain way. For example, I don't know if you said this. Yeah. We talked about this before. Rather than being distracted, I think we talked about this before the podcast. Maybe it was someone else. But rather than being distracted and doing things that take your mind off what you really need to do, you actually go and do what you really need to do to cure that pain. Mind if I start off with an example that I think is something that I relate to me a lot, and it's something that I think I need to overcome. So, recently, you get out what you put in, right? We say that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let's just say, this happens to me when I'm in the caf, right? I see a couple friends that I know, and maybe you know this. So, maybe when you see a person, but you're ah, shit, bro. I don't want to talk to them, so I'm gonna act like I don't know they're there. You know what I mean? So, and maybe that doesn't happen to you, but that happens to me. So
give me an example.
So, so
what the person. I
so
would say that you're trying to avoid.
yeah. So it's so I'm in the calf, right, and like I'm just eating what you call it? I'm eating food, and I see them come by. They don't notice me, and they're just sitting there. But I know that when I pass by, I'm gonna I could say something to them, But for some reason, I feel like my body wants to keep me comfortable, and I feel like going out of my comfort zone would be this is what my body's telling me. It would be a threat, right? And so I play this mind game with myself to I tell myself excuses to just not do it, and so I end up not doing it, And so I know a lot of times the reason why maybe with girls, maybe with just relationships in general, the reason why a lot of people don't take this in a personal circumstance with us, but the reason why a lot of people don't reach out to me is because I don't reach out to them, right? And so recently I've noticed this within myself, when I'm in the calf and just in general, rather than it's okay to avoid conversations with people you don't like, of course, and people you're gonna be stuck in conversations with, yeah, that's totally valid, I get it, but with people that you vibe with, and people you fuck with, and if you, or no, you don't necessarily know, but if you take the step, there's gonna be there's probably gonna be an exchange there that would help, I guess, enhance your relationship with them. And when I say relationship, I don't mean necessarily boyfriend girlfriend. I mean friendship.
Yeah.
So I
association.
Yeah, association. So with this, these emotions were coming up, and usually I give into the emotions, right? And I do what the emotions say. But nah, fuck that. You gotta go with the rationale. You gotta go with the head. So and this is an example of when you gotta use your head over what your body's doing, right? Because your body doesn't have that. It has a fuck ton of intelligence. I'm not saying that, right? But it doesn't have that necessarily rationale for.
It doesn't. It's more instinct over logic.
Yeah, exactly. But when you put that logic in over instinct, it can help benefit you towards reaching I guess you could say a standard or goal.
Yeah. Or you consider the instinct.
Yeah.
And adapt it with logic.
Exactly.
Think of it like a furnace. To be honest, you have that fire, the passion of emotion, but you channel it into something, and it's nice and warming. It's a nice glow.
Yeah.
The fireplace. You have this powerful heat. It's getting radiated.
Yeah.
But it's controlled. It's a controlled explosion, for lack of a better term. You have this passion, this raw force, and you are in control, and it's taking you places where it's making you feel these different things. It's putting you in situations you don't necessarily want to be comfortable in, but when you consider what's in here and what's in here, you feel better.
Yeah. No growth happens in your comfort zone, right? And so when you step outside that comfort zone and I'm not listen, if you're gonna judge me for this, cool, I get it. I'm just sharing my experience, and maybe some people can relate to this. But you step outside your comfort zone and you go and talk to your friends, which sounds so fucking lame, but I get it, it's cool. But you go and you talk to those friends that you may feel the instinct to avoid, right? But when you do that, you have a great conversation with them, and it's not it's weird because you think it's going to be one way, but then when you actually go and do it, it's completely different than what you thought it was going to be.
And that's the reverse of that. It's your thoughts are clouding what your heart's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're hey, these are my friends, but what if they're doing something whack or whatever?
Yeah.
It's but it's you put these you put these ideas in your head about what may be. It's the whole what if thing. It's what if my auntie had balls? She'd be my uncle. Thank you, Sensei Bill, for that fucking pearl. But it's you worry too much about the what if, and it stops your action.
Yeah.
You weigh your options when you should be acting on just raw instinct. You come out and you're fucking open. It's just how it is with approaching girls. To be honest, we're both fucking straight dudes. It comes with approaching anybody, just walking up to strangers, and our domain of technology and COVID and shit, those social skills are pretty much fucking diminished and gone. So if you have these good social skills and you're not afraid to walk up to people and just say, "Hey, what's up? My name's Cole," and you just have a conversation with them and you establish a relationship. It's like you can't like that's gonna set you apart from everybody. And like that's what I've been doing in my kind of personal mission before I've been sidetracked lately. You know, like I was talking about before, dressing different, acting different, open, talking to people. It separates me from everyone else who's like nervous and is weird, and it's like I'm a confident guy who's on his purpose and getting shit done, and people recognize that. So, but then going back to like what we were saying before about, you know, praise and shit. You know, I'm not doing it for the reward. I'm doing it for the mission. You know, I'm doing it for the journey. I'm doing it to be better.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it to get better things. I'm doing it to be a better person. And it's like the optimal me. That's what I'm doing it for. And just by doing that, having a mindset, it sets me apart from everyone else who's on social media all the time, which I've been doing lately because I've been in a funk. I've been wasting time. I don't like it. But I'm slowly climbing out of the fucking rabbit hole. But it puts me in a different class. I'm not saying I'm above everybody, but I'm not following the road most traveled. I'm taking my road. And people see the guy walking by himself. Some people might follow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think I can relate to that a lot, you know. And just to like touch on that one more time, of like, you know, going up to people. It's deceiving, right? Like you deceive yourself, and when you're thinking, like you see your friends, you're like, oh, maybe I should go up to them. You know, which a good friend does. You know, like if you see your friend, you should go up to him. You know, say what's up. But like when your emotions get in the way, and like I get it if you don't want to, if you're not in a mode where you don't want to talk to someone, you know, talk to your friends, cool. You know, but if you're just like in a normal state and like you know perfectly fine, you have the time, I don't see why not. You know, but it's interesting because when we go purely based on instincts and we're in that lower cognitive state and we don't become aware to kick our brains into a higher rationale to start thinking, you know, that's when it becomes like pretty hairy. And so I think like what we've been saying this whole entire time, you got to find that balance, or you got to be able to discern correctly and know when to do something, when not to do something, right? And be self-aware of when you're acting based on emotion and when you're like being illogical, even though it appears logical to you.
Yeah.
And so, kind of to transfer from that onto another subject, I think being social and being able to place yourself outside of your comfort zone is huge, you know, and like placing yourself in a whole nother domain, right? Yeah. And like you said, it's not like you're putting yourself above others. It's just you're cool with not being accepted.
Yeah, you're swimming in a different pond.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's kind of like you kind of become a shark, really.
Yeah.
Because like if you look at a shark, you know, it's moving forward. It doesn't give a shit about the fucking minnows swimming. Doesn't give a fuck. You know, it looks at it as food, or just, you know, it's just existing.
Yeah.
And this ocean, like everything's like fucking moving, and there's different types of fish. Sometimes you get the rich dude, or you know, the guy who's got high status, and you got that whale. But he's doing his own thing too. It's a lot of doing your own thing. You can't swim with the school.
Yeah.
You gotta be a shark that swims solo.
Yeah. People that are by themselves the most know the most about themselves,
exactly.
Right? And like if you're constantly like following the crowd and you're constantly like with other people and your happiness depends on that, right? Like
it's different. It's different between being like an extrovert where you like where you like hanging out and you're vibing, and like
but you can be by yourself though, like
exactly,
and
but like or just being alone, you know, it's different. But you have to realize who you are and what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
And like tying that a little bit back to the emotional thing. That's not necessarily, you don't necessarily need balance to do that. You just need a passion. You need to go for it.
Yeah. integrate that passion in your
Yeah.
life fucking daily. You know,
Yeah.
whether it be like, for example, take for me, for example, weightlifting, video editing,
Yeah.
meditation, eating food.
Fuck.
No, you're good. Time out. We're good.
Cease.
Shoulder. Oh, we're good. We're good. All right, fuck it, whatever, bro.
We're back in.
Back in it. Broken shoulder, you know, on the daily. That becomes who you are, and it's.
I am the broken shoulder.
You're all the broken shoulder. No, yeah, but that becomes who you are, like your daily habits, behaviors, routines, like what you do on the daily. And don't get me wrong, you can do some. You do cocaine on the daily, you know, like. Don't get me wrong, like.
Wall Street executive fucking doing rails.
Exactly. But
Doing rails and watching the market.
Yeah. You gotta. If you're constantly, if that's the stuff you're doing solo, right? You're producing, right? You're creating, right? Don't get me wrong. Like you can be while doing, and you can chill, you can relax. You know, not saying you have to like constantly go, produce, because as you know, that is fucking awful. You know, if you constantly are in that state, some people can do it, but like, listen, man, for 99% of people, that's not going to work. You know, and
Yeah.
you're going to be missing a lot of internal aspects of yourself. Such as peace. Probably you probably don't have a lot of peace. You probably have you're probably constantly feeling like you have to do something in order to be productive, in order to feel like your day was worthy. You know, but yeah, if you can find that point where you are, I guess you could say, help me out here, Cole.
I don't know. I got another analogy in my head,
Okay,
but it's
go
like
for it.
related to the whole like fucking go all
Okay,
the time.
go.
And it's like you can't like when you're going ham all the time. You can't you're not operating at your maximum efficiency. Like when you begin to slide, you're shoveling against the tide. So you gotta go with the wave. You gotta ride the wave.